We're glad we still have you right here on Signature Morning and Signature TV. And we'll be moving ahead to another segment. We'll be talking about fuel hike and Nigerians' energy future. And we have a guest already with us, Mr. Chiga Chieke, public affairs analyst joining us today. Good morning, Chigachi.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be with you.
Okay, the removal of fuel subsidy is often cited as a major issue, in this fuel price hike. So, what are your thoughts on the sustainability of subsidy removal in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you. I start by saying that when you have a problem, you must be able to dismantle the problem in parts. Know how many parts the problem has, then you go about fixing each part. If you can get each part working, then entirely you are going to eliminate that problem. We are talking about fuel hike, fuel subsidy, and all the rest of them. And these are just the symptoms. The real problem is that for more than 60 years since we started exporting, or more than 60 years since we started draining fuel, we have refused to build refineries. Nigeria is supposed to have over 40 refineries of various sizes. With such, we only export refined products, and there will be abundance of petroleum and energy. We would have avoided this energy crisis, but we have refused to do that. But to answer your question, the imposition or removal of fuel subsidy is not an issue, ma. The real thing is that we must get down to the real problem. And the real problem is that we are not refining. And we are not refining because of corruption. The NNPC, that is the sole monopoly, that handles the sole monopoly on anything petroleum, is corrupt. And that is why you see it dominated by a particular segment of the country. Whether it is the southeast, south-south, southwest, or the north, it is very wrong for a particular section of the country to dominate the NNPCL. So corruption is at the root of what you're seeing. Corruption is stopping Nigeria from refining its crude and being energy self-sufficient. And this corruption is there because of the excessive weight of the northern part of Nigeria on the rest of the country. So, personally, I see the present fuel crisis within the context of missed opportunity.
All right, Mr. Ike, if I may bust in, recently you have mentioned that we're not refining as a big problem, and that's the reason why our fuel is a little bit expensive, and corruption is also part of the reasons why we're not refining. But we just started refining. Dangote refineries, offloaded 16 million liters of PMS to NNPC yesterday. As at this morning, we're hearing that NNPC is saying that Dangote sold at 898. Dangote is saying that they didn't sell to NNPC at that price. How do you react to that development? And how do you think that we can even get off this quagmire when you know that even government parastatals that are created to solve the problem or even manage the situation, it looks like they are even the clog on the wheels of progress?
Well, the NNPC and the presidency, we always tell you what you want to hear. They know that in desperate mind, we believe anything. It is a good thing, it's a welcome development that we have the 600 and something thousand barrels of 650,000 barrel per day refinery owned by Aliko Dangote. It's a very good thing. It is a welcome development, and we honestly hope that it's going to bring some relief to the energy crisis. But that is grossly inadequate. We need such refineries, at least 15 of them. We need them. Every single single drop of crude we produce, we're supposed to refine it and then sell for our domestic use and then sell the excess. So where is the parameter to cross-check what the presidency is telling you and what the NNPC is telling you? Where is the standard? So the filling stations are starved of fuel and the long queues persist and Nigerians are suffering. You know what? Just for this interview, I called an associate, a well-informed Nigerian in Western Cape, South Africa. I asked him, Teddy, his name is Teddy Ugochukwu. I said, Teddy, how much is a liter of fuel in South Africa? And he told me that a liter of fuel is exactly 20 rand. That is how much a liter of fuel costs. And I now asked him, 22 rand, sorry. I asked him, what is the minimum wage? And he told me 5,000 rand. And I asked him, house rent for an average worker. He told me less than 3,000 rand. And education is free. I am a product of University of the Witwatersrand. I made second class upper at the University of Calabar. So when I read, they are not minding that I wasn't a citizen. They gave me scholarship. So South African students are schooling free. Those who want to take student loans are giving student loans. Do we have such palliatives or such social intervention here in Nigeria? The answer is no. People are suffering. We have decided that since this is the only country we have, we must support the presidency of Bola Tinubu. We must do everything to make sure that this country works. But I am telling you, sir, there is no honesty at the highest level. We are not supposed to be having fuel crisis. The corruption is at the base and root of the whole problem.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought that if you look at what NNPC has been telling us over the years, they said, look, landing costs is 1,117. At some point, they told us it was a Naira landing cost. Right now, there is nothing like landing cost with Dangote refineries because the crude is produced in Nigeria and sold to Dangote in Naira. And you expected that, of course, that particular petrol is sold, in Naira as well. There isn't anything like landing cost. So we're expecting that Dangote's crude or Dangote's petrol should be far lower in terms of pricing. So I'm trying to ask you if you thought that it was totally wrong for us to have a disagreement. Dangote is saying that NNPC is lying to Nigerians. NNPC is saying that Dangote sold petrol to them at 898. But Dangote is saying it's false.
Yeah, I think the person lying is the NNPC. Look at the antecedents. Dangote should be commended. He's a true patriot. He had every opportunity to build his refinery in Malta, like other Nigerians. But he built it at home. That is action speaking louder than voice. So, to answer your question, I think Dangote is telling Nigerians the truth. We do not have landing costs now. So the prices of the various, whether it's diesel or petrol, it should drop. But as I said, the NNPCL is deep in corruption. Remember, it was when President Bola Tinubu came to power that information leaked that the former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, and Muhammadu Buhari's cousin called Tunde and his uncle called Malam Daura sold crude for 100 million and took 75 million and remitted 25. How possible? How could the NNPC be there and this type of fraud happened? So I think under this contestation, whether Dangote is telling the truth on NNPC, I think Nigeria should go with Dangote. I'm really commenting. And we honestly pray that his refinery should come full force and start production.
Okay, Mr. Eke, you talked about the monopoly of NNPCL. Do you think, not even do you think, why is there a monopoly? Why do you think it's being occupied, solely by some set of people or some group of people?
Well, look at, before independence, there were three major tribes. And these three major tribes deeply stifled the minorities among them. I'm coming to answer your question. And then, at the end of the Civil War, we have an imbalance of two dominating the political scene. That is the Northern and Yoruba axis. One rule hands over to the other one, and the other one rule and hand over to. So it is in human nature to be selfish, to be greedy, to be ungodly. And that is what has accumulated over the year. You go to NNPC, you see that it is dominated by Northerners. And naturally, they will not want to rock the apple cart. They condone corruption. I'm not saying Northerners are corrupt, no. Northerners are very fine patriots. And Easterner man, Igbo man, I will gladly do business with a Northerner. What I'm saying is that Northerners who are dominating the NNPC are corrupt. And they will not allow any reform to take place. No matter how you look at it, they will never allow any reform to take place. And that explains why Malami did all he did as the Attorney General of the Federation. Apart from the 100 million crude sale, Malami is also being investigated for other things. For instance, the 496 million he paid to Global Steel Holdings over the Ajakuta steel mill. He was being also probed for the illegal sale of assets confiscated by the EFCC from corrupt politicians. He is also being probed for $419 million over the judgment awarded to some consultants over the Paris Club. So when you look at it, you see that there is just no way. It's a question of absolute power. It's a question of absolute power. So we must restructure this country, or rather implement the conference report of 2014, because the resolutions of that conference, another name for their resolution is restructuring. So Nigeria is already restructured. What remains is to implement this report, and you implement it at three levels. One, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu can wake up and append his signature to those sections of the report, conference report, and automatically they will come into effect. That is one level of implementing the conference report. The second one is that the National Assembly, in its plenary, can pass a resolution by two-thirds majority that these items under the resolutions reach under the conference report become law. And they do so. And the other one is the one you and I can implement under plebiscite. We shall go to vote that those sections of our conference report, if you want it to come into effect, vote yes. If you don't want it, vote yes. Then everything has been restructured. So no particular section of the country should dominate. In the army, in the police, NNPC, customs, immigration, it is very wrong. It will never work. It won't work. So we are faced with a situation of a fragile state in Nigeria. A state that cannot educate its citizen, drain the energy under it, wage war, or keep its cities clean. I disagree with the United Nations Human Development Index that sees development as a country's ability to house its citizens, to treat them when they are sick, and to educate them. That is not the parameters. Those are not the parameters used by the first world, by the West. That is what they reserve for Africans and the global poor southern countries. Any country that is really strong or developed should never have energy crisis as we are having now. Should be able to take corruption, punish public office holders for corruption. And the military is supposed to be strong and formidable enough to fight internal and external enemies. On all these four parameters, energy efficiency, lack of corruption, strong military, and educating, transmitting information to all its citizens. On all these four indices of development, we are lacking. And that is just the truth.
Okay, Mr. Eke, I don't know what you think about this latest development as regards to CNG kits that has been introduced by the federal government to, I think, 10 states are receiving these kits, and it's largely inadequate given what we have seen in the past. But if it pulls through, do you think the over-reliance of oil will be reduced, and so much so would have some efficiency in that field?
Well, in terms of crude, we have it most abundantly. But there are also other alternatives. Enugu State, before oil came on steam in 1958, Enugu State was providing the energy, the fuel, to make us energy self-sufficient. There is also an alternative. And that alternative is that from the same coal that is in abundance there in Enugu, we can refine our petroleum, diesel, Jet A1, and all the rest of them. Again, South Africa is doing so. It is getting petroleum from coal it mines all over the place. And the energy company in charge of that is the SASO. So it started making fuel from crude since the 23rd of August 1955. South Africa has been getting fuel from coal, and that is why during apartheid, whether you impose your embargo on oil or not, it was flying its jets, driving its cars, driving its locomotives, driving its ships. We can also do that. It's a question of learning. But we don't really need to get our petroleum from coal, because we have abundant reserve of crude. And the world is moving from fossil fuel to clean energy. So they are going to be redundant there. Build refineries. If the problem is hunger, bring in tractors from America or cheap ones from India. Stop bringing in private jeeps and bulletproof. I don't see who would want to kill an irresponsible politician. So any person who finds himself in government office immediately takes a 200 million naira bulletproof. Who is interested in killing an irresponsible person? So let us go to the source of the problem. And the source of the problem is that we are not refining petroleum. We have it here with us. But to set up plants, nobody is doing that. That is the solution. South Africa, since the 23rd of August 1955, has produced 1.5 billion barrels of synthetic fuel from coal, using some 800 million metric tons of coal. Let us embrace technology. Let us embrace a new way of doing things. Let us untie the hands of everyone in Nigeria. If I'm interested in making a machine, nobody should stand in my way. If I'm interested, I believe in my ability to refine petroleum and get quality products. Nobody should stand in my way. the Nigerian Federation is stifling. And that is part of the problem. So we are faced with a very dire situation. People may not be able, nobody may be able to control the anger if it erupts. There is a level Nigerians cannot take this. You cannot go out. Once there is fuel hike, you are talking about a hike in everything, whether transport, food prices, school fees, and all the rest of them. Without energy, you are living in the primitive time. So we must find a way. We must find a way to devolve power, the ability, if you can refine, build it. By the way, if the federal government should ask for share to build a mega plant refinery in Nigeria, share we do it. Saipem the same thing, Angie the same thing. But you do not begin to put obstacles in their way or tell them where to build these refineries. If they decide that they want to build 20 refineries in Yenagoa, so be it. We are one country. Build the refineries there, then find a way to transport them or pipe them to all over Nigeria. For example, not quite long ago, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu virtually commissioned 2 biggest gas plants, compression plants in Africa, built in Imo State. So the products from such plants are going to be piped all the way to Ogun State to power the industries there. We welcome it. But we are also saying that enough gas must be piped to Aba, must be piped down to Yenagoa, must be piped down to the industrial estate in Newi, so that we can have energy and produce. So the consequences of not doing anything is that people are going to do something, and we don't want such a situation.
Mr. Eke, today is 16th of September, and Nigerians are more eager to to expect slash in price of fuel. Amid this confusion with the NNPCL pricing and the Dangote refuter, do you think that Nigerians should still expect something, good news, some set of good news this week in terms of the high price and fuel?
Well, the high price is not something that can be managed immediately. It's going to take some time. You put in more fuel and you monitor, you dispense more fuel and you monitor the distribution of such fuel to make sure that they don't find people don't smuggle them to Cameroon, Niger Republic, and Benin Republic. If such measures can be put in place, because already from the military reports commissioned by former Chief of Army Staff Ibrahim Atahiru, who was killed in a plane crash, we are hearing from his subordinates, one Danjuma, General Danjuma, that he was killed, and that there was a report that all these petroleum products are being shipped outside Nigeria in tankers to neighboring countries. So to answer your question, if we can be very sure that from the Dangote refinery or from wherever these fuels are efficiently monitored to prevent diversion to the neighboring countries, I think we are going to have some relief in less than no time, and the prices of these products are going to go down.
Oh, okay, Mr. Eke, thank you very much. Because of time, this is the much we can take for this review. Thank you for your invaluable input. And you're still tuning to Signature Morning on Signature TV. We'll be right back after this short break.